He picked her up, expecting just another late-night ride, but as she quietly stared out of the window, clutching her empty stomach, he sensed something was wrong. Her hands trembled, her voice barely a whisper. One small question from him changed everything, and what he discovered broke his heart. Ravi had been driving his taxi for 12 long years in the busy city of Mumbai. Every day brought different faces, different stories, but most of them faded away by the next morning. Still, he greeted every passenger with the same warm smile, determined to make at least their journey a bit easier. His own life wasn't perfect. His wife was at home taking care of their 2 young children, and Ravi worked long hours just to keep food on the table. But no matter how tired he was, he believed in kindness. It was the only thing that made the world feel less heavy. One rainy evening, exhaustion was starting to catch up with him. His back ached, and his eyes burned from staring at the road for hours. He was just about to end his shift when he noticed a young woman standing alone near a bus stop. No umbrella, no bag, just a pale, tired face, and eyes that looked as if they hadn't slept in days. Something in his heart nudged him. He pulled over and rolled down his window. "Madam, do you need a ride somewhere?" he asked gently. She hesitated for a moment, as if unsure whether to speak. Then she nodded slowly and got into the back seat. She sat quietly, avoiding his eyes, her thin arms wrapped around herself. Her clothes were neat but worn out, and her hair was tied loosely as though she hadn't had the energy to care. "Where to?" Ravi asked softly. Her voice came out weak. "Just anywhere near Andheri West." A vague answer, but he didn't question it. He began driving through the wet streets, the sound of rain tapping softly against the windows. The car was silent except for her quiet breathing, and even that seemed shaky. Ravi glanced in the rearview mirror. She was staring at her hands, almost as if she was trying to stop them from shaking. He noticed something else: she kept swallowing, as if fighting hunger. He turned off the radio. Then, in a calm voice, he asked, "Madame, have you eaten?" She froze. Her eyes widened in surprise, then quickly filled with tears. She looked away, ashamed. Unable to answer, Ravi's heart tightened. He had driven thousands of passengers, but in that moment, he could tell this one wasn't just tired. She was starving, and not just for food, but for kindness. The silence in the taxi grew heavier. The young woman tried to wipe her tears quietly, pretending everything was fine. But Ravi could see her body trembling. He didn't want to push her, but something inside him knew she needed someone to ask, someone to care. He spoke gently. "It's okay. You don't have to say anything. Just tell me when was the last time you ate." Her lips parted, but no words came out. Instead, she broke. She covered her face with her hands and sobbed helplessly. It wasn't loud, but it was the kind of cry that came from deep pain, a cry that came from days of holding everything in. Ravi pulled over to the side of the road quietly, turning off the engine. She finally spoke through shaky breaths. "3 days," she whispered. "I haven't eaten in 3 days." Ravi sat still, stunned. He turned in his seat to face her fully. She continued, tears streaming down her face. "I came to the city for a job interview. They promised they'd get back to me. I used up all my savings coming here, staying in a cheap hostel, but they never called. I kept waiting. I tried applying everywhere else. No one responded." She let out a bitter laugh. "I didn't even have enough money left for food. I've been drinking water to stop the hunger." Her shoulders shook as she cried harder. "I didn't know where else to go. I was just walking aimlessly." Ravi felt a sharp pain in his chest. Hunger was something he feared deeply, not for himself, but for his children. The thought of anyone going 3 days without food felt unbearable. "Why didn't you ask someone for help?" he asked softly. She shook her head. "I tried. People looked at me like I was dirty, or a thief. I asked one shopkeeper if he could just give me a leftover bun. He yelled at me to get lost." She took in a shaky breath. "I just wanted someone to see me, to believe I wasn't lying." Her words cut through him. In a world filled with people, she had been invisible. And now, sitting in the back of his taxi, she was breaking apart from the loneliness more than the hunger. Ravi didn't think twice. He started the engine again. But instead of driving toward Andheri, he took a turn toward a small roadside restaurant he trusted. It was run by an old friend who made fresh rotis and curry every night. She looked up, confused. "Where are we going?" "To eat," Ravi said firmly. She shook her head. No, I don't have money. Please, just drop me somewhere. He stepped her. You are not stepping out of this car until you've eaten. No arguments. She looked at him with disbelief, as if kindness itself felt unfamiliar. Ravi parked and rushed inside, ordering a hot thali with extra roti rice, dal sabzi, and a sweet gulab jamun. He brought it to the taxi himself so she wouldn't feel embarrassed as he placed the food in her lap. She stared at it as if it were a miracle. Her hands trembled as she picked up a piece of roti. Tears kept falling, but this time they were different. Softer, warmer. She ate slowly at first, then faster, as if afraid someone would take it away. Ravi sat quietly in the front seat, giving her space. But inside, he was overflowing with emotion. No one should have to beg for food. Not in a world where people waste it so casually. When she finished eating, she wiped her tears again, but this time she was smiling. Thank you, she whispered. You don't even know me. Why would you do this? Ravi turned back and smiled. Because someone once helped me when I was hungry. Today, it was my turn. She bowed her head, overwhelmed. Before she left, he handed her a small envelope with 500 inside. She shook her head. I can't. You can, he insisted. This is not charity. This is hope. Use it to buy food for a few more days. And tomorrow, go to your interviews again. Don't give up. She broke down again, but this time. In that moment, they were not driver and passenger. They were human beings sharing the simplest bond. Kindness sometimes, the smallest act of care, can save a life. We don't always realize how close someone is to giving up. A kind word, a warm meal, a little compassionate costs so little. But to someone struggling, it can mean everything. Let's be the reason someone believes in goodness again.